I stood in our empty living room, holding my wedding ring in the palm of my hand. 6 years. 6 years of marriage to a woman I thought was my everything. I did everything right. I stayed faithful. I worked hard. I provided for our family. I loved her with every piece of my soul. But some things cannot be fixed, no matter how hard you try. I had no idea that the moment I decided to disappear, everything would come crashing down in ways nobody expected. Before I share this story, let me know in the comments where you are watching from today. If this story touches you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, let me take you back to where it all started to fall apart. My name is Rodney. I am 32 years old, and I work as a software engineer at a tech company in Austin, Texas. For years, I thought I had built the perfect life. I was making around $120,000 a year. Good money, stable career, the kind of job that let me provide for my family without worrying about the bills. My wife Megan worked in marketing at a small agency downtown. She was smart, ambitious, and beautiful. When we first met at a friend's barbecue 7 years ago, I knew she was special. We dated for a year before I proposed, and she said yes with tears in her eyes. I remember thinking I was the luckiest man alive. After 4 years of marriage, we finally bought our dream home, a 3-bedroom house in the suburbs with a nice backyard and a 2-car garage. We talked about having kids someday. We went on vacation every year, usually somewhere warm like Florida or California. We spent holidays with both of our families, and everyone always said we were the perfect couple. I believed them. I really did. The first sign that something was wrong came about 5 months before everything fell apart. Megan started working late. Not just a little late, but coming home at 9 or 10 at night, sometimes even later. She told me there was a big project with a new client named Derek. He owned a chain of gyms across Texas, and her agency was handling his entire marketing campaign. I did not think twice about it. Why would I? I trusted my wife completely. I had never had a reason not to. Then I started noticing other changes. Megan began going to the gym more often. 3 times a week turned into 5 times a week. She bought new clothes, started wearing makeup even on weekends, and paid more attention to her appearance than she had in years. I actually complimented her on it. I told her she looked amazing and that I was proud of her for taking care of her health. Looking back now, I feel like such a fool. The moment that planted the first seed of doubt in my mind happened on a Saturday evening. Megan came downstairs, dressed in a tight black dress, heels, and full makeup. She told me she had to meet a client urgently. On a Saturday night, at 8 in the evening. I remember looking at her and feeling something twist in my stomach. Something was not right, but I pushed the feeling down. I told myself I was being paranoid. Megan would never do anything to hurt me. We had been through so much together. She loved me. She kissed me on the cheek and walked out the door. I watched her car pull out of the driveway, and that uneasy feeling stayed with me the entire night. A week later, everything changed. Megan left for her Saturday meeting again, and this time she forgot her iPad on the kitchen counter. I was cleaning up after dinner when the screen lit up with a notification. I was not trying to snoop. I just happened to glance at it as I walked by. The message was from Derek. It said, "Cannot wait to see you tonight, baby. Wear that red dress I love." My heart stopped. I stood there frozen, staring at those words, trying to make sense of them. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe there was some explanation that would make everything okay. But I knew. Deep down, I already knew. I picked up the iPad. Megan and I used to share passwords for everything. She had changed her phone password a few months ago, but the iPad still had the old one. My hands were shaking as I typed it in. The messages went back 4 months. 4 months of conversations between my wife and this man. Hundreds of texts, photos, plans for secret dates at hotels and restaurants I had never heard of, love notes that made my stomach turn. And then I found the message that broke me completely. Megan had written to Derek, "Rodney is so boring. He has no idea. You make me feel alive again." I sat down on the kitchen floor because my legs could not hold me anymore. The woman I had loved for 7 years, the woman I had married, the woman I had built my entire life around, was cheating on me. And she thought I was boring. She thought I was clueless. She was laughing at me behind my back. I do not know how long I sat there. It could have been minutes. It could have been hours. All I know is that when I finally got up, something inside me had changed forever. I did not sleep that night. I sat in the dark living room, waiting for Megan to come home. She walked through the door at 2 in the morning, humming a song under her breath. She seemed happy. Happier than I had seen her in months. She told me the project meeting ran late and that she was exhausted. Then she went upstairs to bed without even looking at me. I stayed on the couch until sunrise. My mind was racing with 1,000 thoughts, but one thing was clear. I was not going to confront her yet. I needed time to think. I needed to be smart about this. The next few weeks, I became a detective in my own marriage. I watched everything. I listened to every phone call she took in the other room. I noticed every time she smiled at her phone and then quickly put it away when I walked in. I checked our credit card statements. That was when I discovered the hotel charges, expensive restaurants, a jewelry purchase I had never seen her wear. All of it hidden in plain sight on our joint account. I called my best friend Marcus. We had known each other since college, and he worked in finance. I asked him to help me look into our accounts without telling me why. He did not ask questions. He just said he would look into it. 2 days later, Marcus called me back. His voice was serious. He told me that Megan had opened a separate bank account 6 months ago. She had been transferring money from our joint savings into this account every few weeks. Small amounts at first, then larger ones. The total was around $18,000. $18,000. Money we had saved together. Money I had worked overtime for. Gone. I thanked Marcus and hung up. Then I sat in my car in the parking lot of my office and cried for the first time since my grandfather died. The next step was the hardest. I found a divorce lawyer named Harrison through a recommendation from a coworker who had gone through something similar. I scheduled a meeting for my lunch break and told no one. Harrison was straightforward with me. Texas is a no-fault divorce state, which means infidelity does not automatically affect the divorce proceedings. But evidence of cheating could influence the division of assets, especially if she had been misusing marital funds. He told me to gather as much documentation as possible and to protect my own assets before making any moves. I followed his advice to the letter. During my investigation, I discovered something that made everything worse. Derek was married. He had a wife named Sandra and 2 young children. Megan knew about them. She knew he was a married man with a family, and she did not care. I found messages where they joked about his wife. Messages where they made fun of how clueless Sandra was. Messages where Megan called his wife names I will not repeat. And then I found something that hurt almost as much as the affair itself. Megan and Derek had been talking about my family, about my mother. Megan called my mom that annoying old woman who never stops asking about grandchildren. Derek laughed and told her she was hilarious. My mother. The woman who had welcomed Megan into our family with open arms. The woman who treated her like a daughter. The woman who sent her birthday cards and called every Sunday just to check in. I was not just being betrayed physically. I was being mocked, ridiculed, humiliated. The thing that really got to me was thinking about Megan's family. Her mother, Gloria, had always treated me like a son. She hugged me at every family gathering and told me how grateful she was that Megan had found someone like me. Her father, Frank, called me regularly just to chat. He took me fishing every summer and taught me how to grill the perfect steak. Her younger sister, Tiffany, was always asking me to help fix her car or move furniture. I'd given so much to this family. I'd been there for every birthday, every holiday, every crisis. And now I realized that none of them truly valued me. I was just convenient, the reliable guy who showed up and did what needed to be done. The final straw came on a Thursday evening. Megan came home from work and sat me down in the living room. She had this serious look on her face like she was about to deliver bad news. And she was. Just not the kind she expected. She told me she needed space. She said our marriage had become stale and that she felt like she was losing herself. She blamed me for working too much. She said I was not romantic anymore. She said I had let myself go. Then she said the words I will never forget. She said, "Maybe we rushed into this marriage. I need to find myself." I sat there listening to her, and suddenly everything clicked into place. She was not asking for space. She was preparing to leave me for Derek, but she wanted to be the one in control. She wanted to be the one who ended things. She wanted me to be the pathetic husband who got dumped, not the man who discovered her lies. I looked at her face as she spoke, and I felt something shift inside me. The love I had felt for her was gone. In its place was something cold and clear. I was not going to let her control this narrative. I was not going to give her the satisfaction of leaving me. If anyone was going to walk away from this marriage, it was going to be me. On my terms. I spent the next 3 weeks planning everything in secret. I contacted my company and requested a transfer to our Portland, Oregon office. I told them I needed a change of scenery for personal reasons. My manager agreed immediately because I was one of their top performers. I flew to Portland on a weekend when Megan thought I was at a work conference. I found an apartment near the waterfront and signed a 1-year lease. I set up a new bank account and transferred all of my personal savings into it. Everything I did was legal. I only took what was mine. I documented everything about Megan's affair. Every message, every photo, every bank transfer. I made copies and stored them in multiple places. Harrison, my lawyer, reviewed everything and told me I was ready. Then I picked my day. It was a Monday morning. Megan left for work at her usual time, complaining about traffic and rushing out the door without saying goodbye. I watched her car disappear down the street, and then I got to work. I had already packed everything I needed over the past few weeks, hiding boxes in the garage behind old holiday decorations. I loaded my car with my clothes, my laptop, my important documents, and a few personal items that meant something to me. On the kitchen table, I left 3 things: the divorce papers already filled out and ready for her signature, a printed stack of her messages with Derek, every single one, and my wedding ring sitting on top of the papers like a period at the end of a sentence. I also left a note. It was short. "I know everything. Do not contact me. My lawyer will handle the rest." Then I got in my car and drove away from Austin. I did not look back. The drive to Portland took about 26 hours. I stopped twice to sleep at motels along the way. The entire time my phone was blowing up with calls and messages from Megan. I did not answer a single one. Her messages changed over the course of those 2 days. At first she was angry. She sent texts like, "How dare you go through my things?" and "You had no right to invade my privacy." She acted like she was the victim, like I was the one who had done something wrong. Then she started blaming me. She said it was my fault for neglecting her. She said if I had paid more attention to her, she never would have looked elsewhere. She said I drove her into Derek's arms. After that came the begging. She said she made a mistake. She said Derek meant nothing to her. She said I was the only man she ever truly loved and that we could work through this together. Finally, she panicked. She said she did not know where I was. She said my mother did not know either. She asked me to please just tell her I was okay. I read every message and I felt nothing. The woman sending these texts was a stranger to me. But Megan was not the only one trying to reach me. Her family got involved too. Gloria, her mother, left me a voicemail that I still remember word for word. She called me a coward. She said I had abandoned her daughter like a child running away from his problems. She demanded that I come back and face the consequences of my actions. Frank, her father, sent me a long email. He said he was disappointed in me. He said real men do not walk away from their wives. He said he thought I was better than this. Tiffany posted something on Facebook that was clearly about me. She did not use my name, but everyone knew who she was talking about. She wrote about how some people show their true colors when things get hard, and how her sister deserved better. None of them knew the truth. Megan had told them I just left without explanation. She painted herself as the confused, heartbroken wife whose husband disappeared overnight. I let them believe it for exactly 1 week. Then I sent an email to Gloria, Frank, and Tiffany. I attached everything. Every message between Megan and Derek, every photo, every bank statement showing the money she had stolen from our joint account, every piece of evidence I had collected. I wrote one paragraph at the top. Before you judge me, please read these. I loved your daughter with everything I had. This is what I received in return. The responses came within hours. Gloria called me crying. She kept saying she was sorry over and over. She said she had no idea. She said Megan had told them a completely different story. Frank sent me a text message. It said, "I am so sorry, son. I had no idea. You did not deserve this." Tiffany deleted her Facebook post and sent me a private message apologizing for what she had written. The truth was finally out. But for Megan, things were only getting worse. When Derek found out that everything had been exposed, he immediately cut off all contact with her. He blocked her number, blocked her on social media, and pretended she did not exist. His wife Sandra had found out about the affair, and she was threatening to divorce him and take everything he had. Derek blamed the whole thing on Megan. He told his wife that Megan was the one who pursued him, that she was obsessed with him, that he tried to end it, but she would not let go. Megan lost her lover and her husband in the same week. Her co-workers at the agency started hearing rumors about what happened. The office gossip spread fast. People stopped inviting her to lunch. Her boss started giving her less important projects. She became an outcast at the place where she had worked for 5 years. Her family still loved her, but things were different now. They knew who she really was. They knew what she had done. The golden daughter had fallen from her pedestal. 3 weeks after I left, Megan showed up at my apartment in Portland. I do not know how she found my address. Maybe through a mutual friend, maybe through some detective work of her own. But there she was, standing in the hallway outside my door, mascara running down her face, looking like a shadow of the woman I used to know. She begged me to take her back. She said she was stupid. She said Derek meant nothing, and that it was always me she truly loved. She promised she would change. She promised she would spend the rest of her life making it up to me if I just gave her one more chance. I stood in my doorway and looked at her. I expected to feel something. Anger maybe. Sadness. Even pity. But all I felt was empty. I told her the truth. I said the woman I married would never have done what she did. I said I did not know who she was anymore. I asked her to leave. She did not take it well. She started crying louder than yelling. She caused a scene in the hallway, and other residents started opening their doors to see what was happening. I had to call the building security to escort her out. That was the last time I ever saw Megan in person. The divorce was finalized 6 months later. With all the evidence I had gathered, the court ruled in my favor on almost everything. The judge was not impressed by the affair or the money Megan had siphoned from our accounts. I kept most of what I had contributed to the marriage. The house was sold, and after accounting for the money she had taken, we split what was left. I signed the final divorce papers in Harrison's office on a Tuesday afternoon. When I walked out of that building, I felt like I could finally breathe again. The first few months in Portland were hard. Harder than I expected. I would wake up in the middle of the night and reach for the other side of the bed, only to find it empty and cold. I would see something funny on television and turn to share it with someone who was not there anymore. I would wonder what I did wrong, even though I knew in my heart that the answer was nothing. Work became my refuge. I threw myself into projects, staying late at the office, volunteering for extra assignments, anything to keep my mind occupied, anything to stop the thoughts from creeping in. But slowly things started to change. I joined a hiking club that met every Saturday morning. The Pacific Northwest has some of the most beautiful trails in the country, and I started exploring them with a group of strangers who eventually became friends. They did not know about my past. They did not ask questions. They just accepted me as I was. Marcus flew up from Texas twice to visit me. We went to a Blazers game, ate too much food, and talked about everything except Megan. It was exactly what I needed. I also started seeing a therapist. Her name was Dr. Patterson, and she helped me understand that what I did was not running away. It was self-preservation. It was recognizing that I deserved better than what I was getting and having the courage to walk away. 1 year after the divorce, my life looked completely different. I got promoted at work. My salary increased by almost 30%. I bought a nice apartment with a view of the Willamette River. I started dating again, nothing serious, just getting to know people and getting to know myself better. My relationship with my family improved too. My mother flew up to visit and spent a week helping me decorate my new place. She told me she was proud of me. She said I handled everything with more grace than she could have imagined. I heard about Megan through mutual friends from time to time. She was still single. She had to sell her apartment and move back in with her parents. Derek and his wife stayed together, and Megan was left with nothing but the consequences of her choices. When I heard that, I did not feel happy. I did not feel sad either. I just felt disconnected from it, like hearing news about a stranger in a faraway city. That is when I knew I had truly moved on. Looking back on everything I learned, some important lessons. I used to think that love meant giving everything without asking for anything in return. I thought being a good husband meant sacrificing my own needs and happiness for someone else. I was wrong. Loving yourself is not selfish. It is necessary. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot build a healthy relationship with someone who does not respect you. Loyalty only matters when it goes both ways. I gave Megan 6 years of faithfulness, and she repaid me with lies and betrayal. That was not a reflection of my worth. That was a reflection of hers. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away. Not out of weakness, but out of strength. Knowing when to leave a situation that is destroying you is one of the most important skills you can develop. Sometimes the best revenge is not getting even. It is getting out. It is building a life so good that you forget you ever needed revenge in the first place. If you are watching this and you are in a situation where someone is making you question your worth, I want you to remember something. Their actions say everything about them and nothing about you. You deserve someone who chooses you every single day, not just when it is convenient. I do not know what the future holds for me, but for the first time in years, I am actually excited to find out. If this story resonated with you, I have a question. Have you ever had to walk away from someone you loved because they did not treat you the way you deserved? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences might help someone else who is going through something similar right now. If you found value in this story, please take a moment to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and allows me to share more stories like this one. And if you have not already, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss any future videos. If you know someone who needs to hear this message today, please share this video with them. Sometimes a single story can change someone's perspective and give them the courage to make a difficult decision. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of this community. I appreciate every single one of you. I wish you strength in your struggles, clarity in your decisions, and peace in your heart. Remember, you are worthy of love that does not hurt. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one.